part of the impetus of wanting to earn some, or at least start out on a career, the primary goal of which was to earn some. He was fed up of living like a student. In about 10 minutes, the two of them would have to get up, shower, dress, and go their separate ways. Sam to Heathrow and a flight to Bangkok, and Al to the City of London and his first day at the venerable banking institution of Trenchart Colville. In the meantime, he wanted to keep on listening to those little gasping noises she made, sounding more sweet than ever, as though forming a delicious little coda to the happiness they had shared. But the only way to keep the music playing was to get busy. Looking up at her, she straddled him. He smiled and gestured with his head, a little signal they both understood, and they moved together, a perfectly executed barrel roll, the practiced fluency and precision of which was as reassuring as ever. They smiled at each other once again in acknowledgement of this, and kissed before they pressed on, enjoying each other, as Al listened to those little gasps and their acceleration and frequency as the soon-to-be exes sprinted for the finish to lie silent and breathless under a thin glaze of sweat, with the knowledge that this was the last time that they would be naked in each other's arms. "I love you," he said, and he meant it. "I love you," she said, and she meant it too. They kissed again. It was awkward walking to Fulham Broadway Tube. They held hands. Al carried Sam's rucksack. He was never very good at goodbyes. Sam cried a little. He wiped away her tears and they kissed outside the entrance to the station. "Give me a call when you get to Bangkok," he told her. She nodded and smiled, wiping away a tear as she swung the rucksack onto her shoulder and made her way into the station. They had agreed that they wouldn't say goodbye, but it did little to alleviate the poignancy of the situation. Sam looked back at him, and there were tears on her cheeks, and as he turned around, he realised there were tears on his as well. But now he found himself in an awkward situation. He needed to catch the tube to work, but he didn't want to bump into Sam again in the ticket office. That would have ruined the moment. So he went and bought a copy of The Sun from a newsagent and, tucking it under his arm, made his way back to the station and down into the London Underground. Luck was with him. He managed to find a spare seat in the carriage of an eastbound District Line train bound for Monument Station. He had been this way before, dressed in the exact same Marks and Spencer suit that he wore now. He had attended open days and graduate training fairs during his quest for a job in the city. Since his decision to work in investment banking, he had attended a number of events. They bored the shit out of him, but they didn't put him off. He wasn't going to work in the city because he wanted to be entertained. It was probably curiosity more than anything that had really spurred him on to apply to all those banks. But it wasn't a curiosity born of intrigue regarding the inner workings of the financial industry, but rather a hunger to know whether he could cope with it, whether he could succeed, whether he had what it took. Oh, and get paid like a bastard while he did so. And if he did, then he could work hard for a few years, make a killing, then get out of the rat race and do what he really wanted to do. Whatever that was. He'd have to figure that out by then. Maybe even take off on a world tour of his own. This made him smile. He hadn't even turned up for his first day at work, and already he was planning his retirement. What did that say about what he decided to do? The Sun lay on his lap, but he didn't open it, preferring instead to look around at his fellow commuters as they busied themselves with newspapers, paperbacks, and Sony Walkmans. What had driven them to get on this train for the first time? What were their motives? What were their ambitions? And had those ambitions been fulfilled? Were they happy? Did they even have a choice anymore? Some of them looked happy enough, but others displayed that ennui so ill disguised by London commuters, that look of quiet desperation. Would that be him in a few years' time? Or months? Or weeks? At Monument Tube Station, Al was disgorged onto the pavement, borne aloft on the Underground's warm breath. The commuters moved in a pack, but there was no camaraderie, no team spirit as far as he could see. It was every man for himself, every woman for herself too. And there were plenty of women. Young, smartly dressed, groomed and fragrant. Less than an hour.